This concept might challenge you, but I am proud to be an American, yet I do not believe that American lives are worth more than a person of any other nationality. And I mean that. I do. I feel that sort of the agenda, the perspective that Americans are fed, as you look at the news, as you look at headlines, it's this concept that American lives are worth more than a person of it. So one American man in Texas tragically dies. That's a headline. They tell how he died. And then next they talk about world news. 500 people in Ethiopia died of famine. 300 people died in a bombing attack somewhere in the Middle East. And if anything, we're almost like, okay, one American is equal to 500 or 300. That's kind of how it's done. And I'm not okay with that. Because I believe that we're all equal as human beings. Forget ethnicity, forget race, forget nationality. We're human beings. We're all worth the same. That's what I truly believe. I'm proud to be an American. I've lived in other parts of the world. I've seen what it's like living on less. And I kind of miss it a little bit. There's less of a race to have as much overhead, and the people seem to be happy. And I know that America is continually not part of the top 10 happiest nations in the world. And having spent time overseas, I can see why. People are happier with less. They're happier with less pressure to compete with everybody else, to have these things and these images of materialism. I get it. So, is it such a paradox for me to say, I'm proud to be an American, but I don't believe that my American life is more valuable than anybody else? I even sense a certain sort of ranking that Americans are told that they should believe. It's a subliminal message that we'll see often in the news, that American lives are worth more than anybody else. Who's next in line? Who would be in that next rank? Maybe Canadians, because they're our peaceful neighbors. They never give us any trouble. Everybody likes Canadians. And then also most of Europe, the parts of Europe that are the most known for helping us out in our war agendas. We like those Europeans. And then there's other European nations that aren't as known as much for fighting America's war agendas, but we still like them. They're still kind of attached to Europe. Okay, that's good. And then there's some nations that we just don't really pay attention to because they're not really involved in war. And then come down here, then there's the poor countries that they're not able to help us out at all, but they're not really in war either, so they'll kind of forget about them. And then at the bottom, the most despicable people, oh man, all those people that we have reasons to be in war with. Whatever nations fall in that category, they're worth the least amount. And I think that's the imagery, that's the concept that we're fed as Americans, and it reinforces. If you're a proud American, then you see yourself as more valuable than a person at the bottom of that ranking system. And I think it makes it easier for war to take place too, because I am an intelligent person who's able to perceive that America has been involved in wars that weren't on account of anyone arriving on American land and actually attacking us. Instead, we were helping police the world, and therefore we gained new enemies. And therefore, because we were fighting those enemies, we had to convince ourselves that those people are worth killing. Of course, we don't call it killing because it's war. We won the war. We helped those people win the war. But if we think that they're less valuable than Americans or less valuable than our allies, then we think that they're less valuable human beings. I don't believe that. I don't think it's a paradox that you can be a proud American while at the same time not thinking that your American status makes you a more valuable human being. I truly, in my heart, believe this. No matter what your nationality, you are worth just as much as the next nationality. You know what? I'm putting myself in the perspective of someone who's born in North Korea, who's actually a victim to what's going on in their government, to someone born in Somalia, to someone born in any country where Americans tend to think, those people, they're not as worth as much as Americans are. I refuse to believe that. We're worth the same. I have compassion for those people who are born victims in those places, and often being forced to fight for a nation that they don't even believe in that cause. If I was born as a North Korean, my life would be a lot different. Yet would America see me as the enemy, or would they see me as a victim of where I was born? I'm proud to be an American, but I just refuse to believe that as an American, my life is worth more than someone else born of a different nationality. I'm not emotional when it comes to war. And I think that we've gained this status as Americans that we're the police of the world. So if you cross our agenda, we don't like it, then we can come invade your country. We can come kill you until you get on board with our agenda. And I think it's easy to draw a line in the sand, say these guys are the enemies, these guys are with us. These guys are not worth anything, they're worth killing. These guys are on our side, they got our back, and as long as they're backing us up, then they're all right. They're almost as good as an American. They're an ally, but they're almost as good as us. I think what I'm saying out loud has a lot of truth to it, and it makes me feel uncomfortable to even say it. Because there's people on one extreme who think that America can do no, I'm an American, we can do no wrong, no matter what we do in times of war, it's justified because we're American, we always do what's right. And then there's the rest of the world saying, hey America, do you realize like you're reaching for too many cookies in the cookie jar? Do you realize you're consuming most of the world's resources and you're like really involved in other people's affairs? And then there's people like me who are right in the middle. Hey, I'm proud to be an American, but I'm ashamed of some of this stuff that happens, and I'm ashamed of some of the mentality. And I'm ashamed of the fact that anyone would think that an American life is more valuable than any other nationality. I do not discriminate on nationality. I love all people no matter what your nationality is, no matter what your ethnicity is, well, no matter what your race is. We're all equal. Call me crazy, but that's how I see the world. I can be proud to be an American, but it doesn't mean that any American is worth any other person of any other nationality. But there is a comment section, and maybe that changes everything. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe you need to let me know that. Or if you're crazy enough to believe me and actually agree with me, you might want to let me know there too. I don't think it's a paradox that you can be proud to be an American without thinking that Americans are better than any other nationality.